Hello everybody and welcome to Monday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Now, one thing that I miss on this channel that we haven't had for a long time, that's the comments section. Most comments nowadays are really positive, really informative, and well, I kind of feel like they don't require me to take the piss out of them because they're good comments. However, thanks to some idiots out there, we have a couple today. Starting with this one from Caesar. Just stop with the stupid introductions. Just do the news. No, Caesar, I won't. Don't tell me what to do on my channel. If I want to extend this intro for 10 minutes and give you the news right at the end in a 30-second segment, that's what I'm going to do. I can do what I want. My house, my rules, all right? Next up, this literally came through as I press record on the camera. I can't remember what it says, so I'm just going to I'm gonna take a look over here. Coda Tao said product placement is embarrassing. Why humiliate yourself? Oh, money. Silly me. Now, sometimes, yeah, a bit of product placement can be a little bit intrusive. It can be a little bit embarrassing if it's done crassly. However, these just sit in the background. You don't have to buy them. I don't care whether you buy them or not. But the video he was referring to was this one right here.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Got some new products on the back wall, and yeah, these are companies I've been working closely with over the past couple of days. Benelin produced a wonderful medicine for chesty coughs. We've got Lemsip, standard, everyone knows that, and Albus Inhaler nasal stick. Unbelievable quality. Link down in the description for none of those products at all.
A little bit embarrassing, that, isn't it? Clearly has zero sense of humour. Way to go, Coda. Anyway. Just for you, Caesar, let's get on with news. Oosh. So first up, and I think the only thing in the news today, we're only the second week into February, and what a weekend of racing we had. We had the men's and women's Brussels University cyclocross races, we had Classica d'Almeria, and we also had the final two stages of Tour de la Provence. And the Tour de la Provence, cracking race. Shall I find out who won what? Let's do it right now. First up, cyclocross. First up, the women's X2O Badkamers Trophy in Brussels. That was won by Selena Del Carmen Alvarado. Denise Betzma finished in second place. Manon Bakker was in third. Down in fifth place with a problem with it looked like she had a problem with her shoes, either a cleat or a pedals, couldn't work that one out. But world champion Lucinda Brand finished fifth overall. And over in the men's, with no Wout van Aert, with no Tom Pidcock or Mathieu van der Poel, it was Toon Aerts who took the victory, finishing 20 seconds ahead of Quentin Hermans, and in third place was Niels van der Peert. Over in the Classica d'Almeria, it was Giacomo Nizzolo who took the victory. This was a scrappy run into the finish, and the finish itself wasn't that tidier either. Nizzolo took the victory ahead of Seneschal, and Lars in third for Bora Hansgrohe. Shout out to Gabs Collet finishing seventh in that race for Team Movistar. Cracking result. I think that is his first race back as well, so nice one, Gabs. Moving on to Tour de la Provence now. Saturday saw the riders ascend Mont Ventoux up to Chalet Renard, and it was Ineos Grenadiers pacing the whole peloton at the foothills of Mont Ventoux, and it was Ivan Sosa who would eventually hit the decisive attack. He put around 20 seconds into the group, and that just stretched the rest of the riders out. One rider who tried to make the gap across was none other than Julian Alaphilippe, as you'd expect, but on his wheel was Egan Bernal. Eventually, while Poles, he managed to close that gap up to those two riders, but couldn't really match their pace, and another dig from Egan Bernal saw Poles off the back. Alaphilippe was able to stay with him. They slowed their pace down. Even Sosa took the victory, and then it will be Egan Bernal finishing in second place, taking those bonus seconds, which would take him into second place. Ivan Sosa would move into the lead of Tour de la Provence, and with a flat sprint stage coming up, it looked like it was his for the taking. Potentially, there could have been a change for second and third, depending who picked up those bonus points in the intermediate sprint on stage 4. And those bonus seconds ended up going to Alaphilippe, who bunny hopped himself into second place, splitting the two Ineos Grenadiers riders. Ivan Sosa would go on to win the general classification, and stage 4 would come down to a sprint, and it would be Bahrain Victorious's first win of the season. They can all breathe a sigh of relief. If nothing else happens, at least they got a victory, and they got it early on in the year. But maybe this is a stepping stone to bigger and brighter things for that team this year, and hopefully they will go on to more than just this one victory for the rest of the season. Phil Bauhaus took the victory in the sprint ahead of Davide Ballerini, and a very upset Nasser Bouhanni finished in third place. Again, another shout out to the Brit rider Matthew Walls for Bora Hansgrohe, again finishing in 7th place. Cracking ride from him. I think he was expecting a little bit more. I mean, who isn't always expecting a little bit more? But for his first race on the old World Tour, that's 2 good results in the sprints for Matt Walls. Now then, let's head down to the Southern Hemisphere where George Bennett claims his long-awaited New Zealand road race title. So says Cycling News. After 2 silver medals, George Bennett claimed his first national road race title on Sunday, soloing to victory at the New Zealand Championships in Cambridge. Cracking result that from Bennett getting his hands on that national jersey for New Zealand. But what's the criteria for riding in a national championship? Because in 2nd place was Scottish rider Mark Stewart, who I know has been spending a lot of time down in New Zealand, but I would have thought you'd have to be a resident, or you'd have to, well, do you just have to hold a license for that country? And if you do, can anybody just get a license once they live there for a while? I don't know. But anyway, Ribble well tight, Mark Stewart ended up finishing 2nd in the New Zealand Road Race Championship. So yeah, as ever, leave your comments down below about everything that happened over the weekend. Highlights, lowlights. Did you watch the racing? Did you miss the racing? Did you enjoy the cyclocross? Did you enjoy Tour de la Provence? What about Almeria? It's amazing. I think we spoke about this at the end of last week. Amazing how we can watch these races live. There was a time way back when you'd struggle to find the results of the Tour de France. You'd have to wait for it to come out in a newspaper or the Cycling Weekly to tell you the results of Le Tour de France. But nowadays, we get to see live footage from these races that, well, you'd never heard of only a few years ago, and now we can watch them live. It's pretty amazing. You got to tip your cap to GCN and Eurosport for making that happen. But yes, before we leave the racing news, I want to pick up on this story. We've spoke about it for the past 2 weeks now. That's safety within cycling. And another reason that the UCI should stop looking at sock heights, should stop looking at throwing bottles, should stop looking at super tuck, should stop looking at banning stupid positions on bikes and concentrate on safety, including barriers, road furniture, and fans getting in the way. Stage 2, Tour de la Provence. This ended up happening. Now from those shots there, you didn't really see what happened. But if you look at this still here, you can see that this fan here on the left-hand side is hanging out way too far on the barriers. Like, come on. It was Matteo Jorgensen that ended up crashing heavily on his way to potential victory, so he says, or at least a damn good result. He came down with 100 metres to go, and he took to social media to say, "Sucks to miss out on a real chance at my first pro win like that. Let's all refocus on the real safety problems in our sport. Barriers, road furniture, not rider position." This is something that shouldn't be happening. How hard is it to create enough space between fans? Listen, race organisers, UCI, they know that fans want to put pictures on social media. They want to be in the best position possible to get the best picture so they can get as many likes as they can on their Instagram posts. So they're going to do stupid things like hanging out in front of the riders. And if you've never been to a race and you never realise how close riders get to those barriers, you're in for a rude awakening when they come past you. And like this can happen, where a fan ends up taking a rider out. What if that rider breaks their collarbone? What if that rider breaks an elbow? What if that rider ends up taking 3 or 4 riders down with them and they're all out for the rest of the season? All because one person wanted to try and get an Instagram picture, which would have probably been blurry anyway. And I know fans want to be as close as they can to the action, but not at the cost of a rider's health and safety. Come on. Don't be knobheads. Or a barrier that goes up and then back like that. So a fan has to stand a foot back. Taking that to Dragon's Den. And then finally in a news story that we spoke about a fair few months ago now, the tribunal of Dr. Freeman. He has been charged by the UK Anti-Doping Agency with 2 violations and faces a 4-year ban. Eesh. Cycling News reported ex-British Cycling and Team Sky doctor charged with possession of a prohibited substance, and tampering or attempted tampering with any part of doping control. So at the end of January, the GMC summed up its case in a fitness to practice hearing, and this week the proceedings continued in the facts stage of the process, reaching a 2-year mark. Having started out in February 2019, the Fit for Practice hearing centres on testosterone gels ordered to the National Velodrome by Freeman. At the time of the delivery in 2011, an 8-year statute of limitations was in place, but the new 10-year limit imposed in 2015 is understood to now apply. Freeman has accepted 18 of the 22 original allegations brought by the GMC, but is disputing the 4 charges relating to the testosterone gels, claiming he ordered them to treat erectile dysfunction of former head coach Shane Sutton. I don't know if he rubbed it on himself or he just gave it to. I don't know, and not provided to an athlete to boost performance. Of course, Sutton has denied the accusations. Of course he would. Now, if I had erectile dysfunctional problems, I won't phone me mate and say, Dave, do you mind getting me some of that testosterone cream to rub on my knob? You'd do it yourself, wouldn't you? You'd do it yourself. Even if that friend was a doctor, Dr. Dave. No. You'd go to your doctor or you'd sort it out yourself so no one knew about it. What a terrible excuse. What a terrible excuse. Anyway, he's probably going to get banned for 4 years for bringing in testosterone into the velodrome and giving it to someone, but probably didn't give it to someone because at the end of the day someone else found out about it and then he had to clean up his mess, didn't he? Listen, with this story, I'm not skirting over it because like it's British cycling. Listen, there's just a lot of information. I'm not a journalist. I just like to cover the news on a surface level rather than trying to get down and deep into the whole, not necessarily the truth, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't come here for that kind of information, do you? This is what's happening. That's my view on it. I want to hear what you've got to say on it. That's essentially this channel right there. And finally, in today's show, I know a lot of people were questioning where Rohan Dennis was over the weekend after we saw such an amazing appearance from him on the Stelvio last year to help Tao Geoghegan Hart to victory at the Giro. A lot of people expected him to be there for Ivan Sosa. Well, we expect him now to be one of those mountain goats. We expect him to be there when the road goes uphill to help out Ivan Sosa, to help out Egan Bernal, especially at Tour de la Provence when they were going up Mont Ventoux. But where was he? Was he in the pack? No, he wasn't racing. Was he on training camp? No, he wasn't on training camp. Where was Rohan Dennis? He was playing computer games at home. I'm kidding, listen, I love Rohan Dennis. It's just funny to think that all his teammates, all the cyclists just grovelling up Mont Ventoux and he's there just sat in his house playing video games. He was part of the virtual GP and he did all right. He ended up finishing 15th overall. I don't know if there's a career in Formula One for Rohan Dennis past cycling, but fair play. I mean, he probably did a lot. No, I think if I'd have put the same amount of time in, I'd have probably been a little bit better than Rohan Dennis. I can't climb like he can, but I reckon I could beat him. I reckon I could beat him in a simulator. But yeah, there you go. As all his teammates are grovelling, crying, getting cold, going up Mont Ventoux, he's in his nice warm house playing F1. Fair play to him, to be fair. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure if you've not done already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live with our videos. And if you've disliked this video for whatever reason, Kodo, Caesar, and any other trolls that want to leave some mean comments just so they can get featured, feel free. Feel free. Be honest. Be open. Tell me how you feel. Leave your comments down below and I will see you on the next one.